Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Leader Class Dinobot Snarl from the Transformers Studio Series 86 line from Hasbro. Our fourth Dinobot. We're just waiting on Swoop at this point to finish off the Dinobot team. We can see here Snarl is 19th in the Studio Series 86 line. We have the plastic-free packaging here. We have some really nice artwork of Snarl here on the front, shooting at some sweeps. The one scene he is in the movie, actually, blink and you miss him, when the Decepticons come back to Autobot City for the second time, when they are charged to destroy Ultra Magnus by Unicron. That's the one time you see Snarl. He's literally in a blink and you miss him. I've heard stories that they lost his character sheet and they didn't have his robot mode to translate. They couldn't animate the robot mode, so that's why they kind of cut him out of most parts. I don't know if that's true or not, just kind of a rumor that's been going around. But yeah, he's in that one scene, so of course, you know, they make him before Swoop. Makes total sense. But in any case, really nice artwork here on the front of the box. Have a close-up of the Dino Mode head on this side, and again, Dino Mode on this side. Nothing going on the bottom, just have the Transformers the movie logo there on the top. Spinning it around to the back, we have some nice product shots of the Robot Mode and the Stegosaurus Mode. And then, of course, he does have the little backdrop included as well. So yeah, pretty cool. I like the packaging here. I really like the artwork on the front of the box. Gonna go ahead, get everything out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. So here's a real quick shot of Snarl with the backdrop that's included. And if we move him out of the way for a moment, this scene is actually from the first attack on Autobot City. This is when we first see Ultra Magnus, and he's kind of giving orders to the various Autobots. So I don't really know why this backdrop was included, because Snarl is not in this scene. But it's a great backdrop. I mean, if you just want to kind of make like a general Autobot City backdrop, like if you could kind of maybe cut this and kind of put it in the back of a bookshelf or something like that, it would be cool to kind of recreate the scene. Now, we know we're getting a Commander Class Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus, but I don't know if he'll come with the same backdrop, because they've never really done a Commander Class for Studio Series before, so it would have to be a pretty large backdrop, I would think. So I don't know how that's going to work. We'll have to wait and see. But you could put some of the other characters in here. RC, Springer, who else is in the scene? Blur, Perceptor. So this is a nice backdrop just in general, but it's just funny that it comes with Snarl because he's not in this scene. Here is Studio Series 86 Dinobot Snarl out of the package, and he is looking fantastic. Hasbro continues to crush it with these Leader Class Dinobots. I cannot wait till we get Swoop and complete the team. This guy's just so clean, and he looks fantastic. I mean, yeah, he has the Stegosaurus spikes on the leg, and he's got, of course, the tail, you know, opened up on the back, but that's really part of his iconic Robot Mode look. And otherwise, he's just very clean. There's no kibble. There's no dino heads hanging off the legs. The insides, everything's really clean. Even this is actually where the dino head is, and they painted the inside of it silver so it would blend into the leg. I mean, that's really, really cool. Just really well done. Autobot symbol here on the chest looks amazing. You have a little bit of painted detail down here. The Robot Mode head is beautiful. I love that so much. The blue eyes, the silver face, that just looks phenomenal. I mean, he's just got no kibble. I mean, he's got these tiny little dino legs back here on the under part of the forearm, but you don't really see them. They blend in the front, you know, looking at the front from Robot Mode, so he's just really great. They did such a good job. I'm really, really happy with this. I will say this piece here does come separately in the packaging, so you have to pop it on yourself. So basically all it is, let me open this up. So it's these two pieces here together, and you just pop them on here. You can kind of see the little indent, and there's little plastic nubs. You pop it on there, and then you just push it down, and it will kind of lightly tab onto the back, and then these two little pieces will tab into these little spots up here. So you just push that on there. And there you go. I mean, look how clean and integrated that back looks. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just, I'm blown away. This guy is so great. He's got his sword here, which is done in this same kind of yellowish gold plastic and then painted silver, but it's got really great metallic paint, really nice molded detail. I really like the look of that quite a bit. It's kind of weird that some of the Dinobots have guns and some had swords, when I'm pretty sure the original toys, you know, every character had one of each. I don't know. It just kind of makes me wish I could put them all with the guns or put them all with swords. I'm pretty sure Snarl, just maybe in the animation, is more associated with wielding a sword. It's probably why they did that here. But it would have been cool to do a gun and a sword with each Dinobot, but here we are. Maybe one day we'll get an accessory pack or something that they could go ahead and give us some swords for the others. But yeah, he looks great. I mean, he really, really just looks fantastic. Articulation-wise, the head is on a ball joint. You can look up slightly, look down slightly. Of course, you can look side to side, no problem. You can even tilt side to side a little bit. Nice ratchets. You can probably hear them. They are in the shoulder. You have a hinge out to the side. You have a bicep swivel right above the elbow. And then you have pretty good range of motion there in the elbow. You do kind of have a secondary elbow above the bicep swivel, which is really more for the transformation. But if you want to use that, you know, to get more elbow, you know, like kind of a double elbow, you absolutely can. But that kind of clicks in place, and he's really only supposed to use this elbow. You do have a wrist swivel as well. We have a waist swivel. Kick pretty far forward, and you can hear the ratchets in the hips. Kick pretty far back, kick pretty far out to the side. You have nice ratchets in the knees as well. And then, of course, you have ankle tilt. And then I guess technically you can move the toes. It's really more for the transformation. But hey, you want to use it for articulation? You absolutely can. But yeah, he looks good. I'm really, really happy with this. Now, I don't have the other Dinobots handy, but who I do have is Shattered Glass Grimlock, just to give you an idea of having the two of them together. You can see roughly the same size, I would say. And they look pretty good together. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, just all in all, I have really no notes. This guy is pretty phenomenal. They did such a good job, and the robot mode is just so clean. I can't get over it. It's pretty amazing. So let's go ahead. Let's get into his transformation. So the transformation is actually really cool. I had a couple spots on mine where the joints were really tight, and it was kind of difficult to get them to transform, but I was able to do it. So you're going to start with the arms, kind of bring them up, and you have these little dino feet that I mentioned previously, and they're on a piece that you can see the hinge is right here. So you need to bring this down. Now the directions tell you to lift this up, but that's as far as it can go. The directions show it like being completely 90 degrees, and you just can't really do that. So what I try to do is kind of grab a hold of it back here and kind of push this down like that. And so you want to wiggle it back this way. And I think the more I do it, it's going to get looser. But the first time, I almost could not get this out of there, which is kind of a bummer. You're going to take the wrist here, and you're going to spin that 180 degrees. Now, you want to be careful, because what happened to me, so it's just a mushroom peg. And you know how with mushroom pegs, turning them, you can kind of almost pop it off the mushroom peg. You want to make sure that it's all the way on, because when I folded it in and I was trying to get it back out, it wasn't all the way on, and the fist like shot across the room. Luckily, everything was okay, but just a little something to be wary of. So make sure that's all the way on, and then this whole piece is going to rotate around and close up like that. And then you can take this, and you can see that there's a little tab slot right there, and there's a tab here. This is when you want to go ahead and unpeg that earlier joint. And I don't know if you saw that or not, but see how it's almost trying to split away? You can kind of see where the seam is. So maybe hold on to that as you pop this. And this is what I'm saying. Like, some of these things are just really tight. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think it's just where the two pieces of plastic were joined, but just something to be wary of. So then this tab here is going to go into this tab slot. Pop this up and pop that into there. And this kind of makes your solid dino leg here. His back dino legs. So we can kind of leave that like that for now. Come over here, repeat the process. This one I felt was even tighter. Okay, good. It's gotten easier. I've done this one or two times now, so it's gotten better. Spin this around. Again, make sure it's all the way on, and then drop this down. You might have to kind of move this back further. There we go. Then we can unhook this, bring this up, tab that in, and there we go. We have our two back dino legs. We're going to come to the backpack section here. We're going to unpeg this and then rotate this up. You want to put the head back into this now empty cavity. And this can be another thing that's a little difficult because, again, the joint, so this entire black piece of plastic here is what's supposed to rotate down. but it's tight, and I don't want to push on the head and then kind of put pressure on the neck joint. So kind of just really try to grab a hold of it in a way that it's actually moving that piece and not just putting pressure on the head. And it's nice you do have access from this section here, which can assist you. Let's get this back. And you want to make sure, once you can kind of get your finger in here, it's a little bit easier. You want to make sure that this goes all the way back like that. All right, at this section, we're going to lift this up ever so slightly. You can see that there was a tab slot right there, and there's a tab in there, so you're kind of unpegging that. And lifting that up, you're going to grab a hold of the waist here and pull that down, and then you're going to spin this 180 degrees like so. If you have the ankle tilt engaged, you want to kind of just close that back up, and then you're going to lift this whole section out like so. Now this might come apart as you're doing that. It's actually perfectly fine because we eventually have to do that. We have to lift this up, move this dino leg out of the way, and then there's a tab in here which is going to peg into this tab slot here. So this is going to come all the way around and peg in like that. So we're going to kind of lift this up because there is kind of a little tab to kind of keep it in place. There's nothing super tabbed in, it just kind of fills the empty space, but you want to kind of lift it away, not just swing it straight out. And then this is going to come up and peg in there, and then you can kind of just move this around to get it out of the way. You're going to put the two legs together. They will snap together like so. Then you're going to lift up these panels. So there's these two little panels here on the shins, which can be a little difficult, but if you need help, just kind of bend the knees back slightly. So once you lift those up, you can bring this all the way around, and we have to get the two halves of the dino head out of there. Actually, no, I think you do the whole rotation first. So make sure you have the clearance, bring this all the way, and that'll kind of naturally pop this out. That way you can go ahead and pop that down, and you might just have to push some more things together as you go, but then you can push these back closed like that. So we're all set. We are going to come to this section and kind of make sure this is lifted up. You have to get the toes. Sometimes this can be a little difficult with clearance, but you want to just get the toes to go down like that. And then you can push this closed. And then you want to just push the chest piece down, and it'll peg into those two tab slots that were on the toes there. So bring that down. Then you can bring this up. This will close here, and then you have these two tabs here, which will fit into these two spots here. So you're going to close this up. Like so. Then you can close up the tail pieces, and they will sandwich together like that. At this point, you're pretty much done. You're going to just close this up. There are two tabs right here and here that will tab into these spots right here. I might not have this. There we go. That wasn't in all the way. So we'll close this up, and that will tab in. There we go. Then you can rotate this around. You're going to rotate the foot 180 like that. And then at this point, it's really just kind of finding the right angles to situate everything. You can kind of use the tail as a guide so that that can sit flat, and then just kind of bring this down and fold the extra foot down like so. And this popped up. I don't think this is pegging in correctly. There we go. This whole section is kind of a little bit softer plastic, so sometimes it can be a little difficult to get that to all peg in because it's a little bit softer. But there we go. We have Snarl in Dino mode. Here is Snarl in Dino mode. I think he looks absolutely fantastic. Really nice gold paint back here for the tail and kind of this set of the spikes, because again, this is the red plastic that they had to paint gold. And then we have gold paint here as well. These are a little bit softer, I'm assuming because of a safety issue. They don't want to make these spikes too sharp, and luckily they aren't. They're also painted gold. And then you have the head and the legs, the kind of like lighter yellowish gold color. I mean, I don't think it really made sense to kind of paint these gold as well, but it is kind of weird to see it two different shades of yellowish gold. But I'm happy with how it turned out. I think the Stego head looks great. You have that Autobot symbol there on top of the head. Really nice blue eyes. Mouth does open and close, which I appreciate. I think that's fantastic. He's even got tiny little teeth molded in there. I mean, I think these were herbivores, so wouldn't need to be too sharp. But in any case, he looks really, really cool. I like this guy quite a bit. If you want, you can store the sword up here, or you can drop it, whichever you prefer. But it does have a peg on the underside here, so you can peg this there, or if you want to do it this way. And I didn't really mention this earlier, but seeing as how this is also the back of him in robot mode, you can store the sword on the back the same way. It's the exact same peg hole, so I think that looks kind of weird. I kind of wish there was a way you could store it underneath. Now, it does look like actually there's these two connectors here, and there's these two connectors. Does this do anything? It does. So for some reason he wanted to have a sword goatee. That's an option, apparently. Can I flip this around the other way, and will it store this way? Yes, perfect. There you go. I got my wish. You can store the sword underneath. I don't believe that's in the directions. I literally just figured that out on my own. But perfect. You can store the sword underneath, and you really can't even see it. So that's pretty cool. Or again, give him a bayonet chin. Also an option. That's fun. So yeah, really, really happy with this. I think he looks really fantastic. Really, really, really well done. And I love the little Stego mode. Snarl's pretty fantastic. Like I said, the only problem I have is just a couple of the joints being a little tight while I'm trying to transform him. But as long as nothing snaps or breaks over time, it's going to be fine. This is just a phenomenal looking mold. The head sculpt's great. I love the Autobot symbol, so nicely painted here on the front. The robot mode is so clean. It just looks fantastic. Articulation's great. The transformation's not too difficult. It's a lot of fun. The Dino mode looks great. I don't have anything to complain about. This guy's fantastic. Definitely recommend picking him up, especially if you've been collecting the other Dinobots, and hopefully we'll get Swoop pretty soon to finish out the team. But yeah, this is the version of the Dinobots that I've always wanted. You know, a leader class Dinobot that's kind of in scale with the rest of the Autobots. Looks fantastic, transforms well. I definitely don't care about it being a combiner in any way. I just want it to be as most animation accurate as possible and look fantastic in both modes, and that's what they've done here. So this guy's great. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.